A floodplain is a relatively flat area along a river onto which river waters spread during a flood. They are some of the most valuable places on Earth, both for people and wildlife. Floodplains provide a river more room as it rises, thereby reducing pressure on man-made flood protection structures, like levees and dams. They act as natural filters and improve our water quality. They recharge aquifers, the underground sources of water for many communities, and agricultural production. And floodplains are home to some of the most biologically rich habitats on Earth, providing critical wildlife habitat and many outdoor recreational opportunities. One of the Nature Conservancy's restoration goals for Emiquon is to return it to a fully functioning floodplain wetland. To do this, the Conservancy is installing a water control structure that will create a managed connection between Emiquon and the Illinois River.
This is the structure that we're in the process of designing. We're not to the 100% design, but conceptually we think we're getting pretty close. So we've cross-sectioned the levee. We're looking right into the levee, and you see a gray rectangle going through here. This is actually what we call a box culvert, and it will allow us to move water from the riverside out here on the right into Emiquon, and conversely, when we need to get rid of water and the river is low and the water's higher on the left side here at Emiquon, it will allow us to move water from the left side back through this box, through this tube to the right side. There's a lot more to this system, though, than just a tube through there. We need to be able to primarily to control that flow of water. So when we want it to flow, it does flow, and when we don't want it to flow, it doesn't. So let's take a look at a little bit of the structure that we're developing to help us control that water. So we're looking at the river side of the water control structure now. We're looking at this channel that comes into the green levee. So this is the earthen berm in green with grass growing on it. And the light blue here is the water level at this time when we're taking a look at the structure. And so these floats up here, these orange floats, are debris skimmers. So as trees and other debris comes floating down the river, those things are anchored in place, and they're meant to catch up those trees so those trees don't come into our structure here. It consists of two box culverts. So these tubes will flow through the levee, and we'll have a structure here on this side that will help us manage the movement of water. This is the riser, and there's a little notch right here, and there's a notch on this side. And then at the back of this structure, which is concrete, there's the sluice gate, the door that opens that hole at the bottom and closes the hole. If we want to take water off the top of the river, what we can do is put stop logs. They used to be just oak planks, although we'll probably use fiberglass boards, and we'll slide them down these slots and fill up the slots until we get to the level that we want the water to start coming in from. So in the case of the right side here, if the water, these are the stop logs, the brown things, and we put those in there, and if the water comes over these, then we would be taking water off the top of the river. So as the river comes up, if we want water off the top of the river, we put in stop logs. The water flows over the top of the stop logs into this riser structure, and then we open the sluice gate so the water can then flow through. So if there are good fish that are migrating at the top of the water column, fish that we want into Emiquon, we might set the situation up similar to this. We put stop logs in, the water trickles or flows over the top, and we get the good fish. Maybe the fish at the top of the water column are fish that we don't want, like the silver carp that are migrating up and down the river. Maybe instead we want to take water off the middle of the water column. This stop log structure will allow us to do that. What we would do is put what we call blanks at the bottom. Now the water level's up here where the floats are, and the only place fish can move is 5 boards off the bottom. So here's the bottom of the river, the bottom of our structure. Fish have to go down deep into the water before they can move through. So if the good fish are migrating down low in the water column, we could put these open structures at the bottom and then close off the stop logs at the top with stop logs at the top so that the bad fish, if you will, can't get in. Water levels on the river side are going to fluctuate as much as 30 feet. So this riser structure on the river side needs to be very tall so we can accommodate and we can manage where we take in water regardless, almost regardless of what the river's doing. Other features, there's a crane here. That crane will allow us to pull those stop logs out and put other stop logs in. You also might be able to see a bunch of black vertical lines here. So the slots here in front are sampling, experimental slots that we can use for sampling equipment to monitor water quality, even fishes. We could slide a net into this slot, and as water's going in or coming out, that net would catch those fishes. And so how do we know whether we want to open flows up here, or maybe we want the water coming over the top with fish, or the water going all the way in and out on the bottom? Well, the way we'll determine that is we'll put nets in there and we'll see what fish are moving where and when, and then we'll open up the section where the fish that we want to move are tending to move, and we'll close off those sections. So this structure is going to provide us the ability to both manage water levels, add water when we need it, get rid of water when we don't need it, stabilize water levels, and will also provide access for aquatic organisms to move them in and out.